YouTube doesn't like like when we start streaming and the YouTube control panel just borks. I always have to refresh it.
You just let me
But
know when you're ready there, bud.
we're streaming. We're ready.
Oh. Okay. Well, hold on. 3,
He's
2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 316, recorded tonight, February 25th, 2021. On tonight's episode, we talk about a lot of Nintendo information dumps. That includes Sakurai Presents, a Pokémon Presents. Oh, and by the way, BlizzCon presented, but that was last weekend. But you get the point. Lots of Nintendo news. I'm here with Jesse, I'm here with Marty, and this is Nintendo Dads. Cue the music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Marty here, and it is February the 25th, and this is Nintendo Dads episode 316. And man, I'm excited to get right into it tonight with two of my best friends that I don't really know. I don't know if you know that. We don't really know each other. We just exist on the internet. So it's kind of like maybe we're just AI, and we've kind of gone sentient.
Wow.
Who knows?
Why do you say that? Because that actually ties into what I've been playing.
Well, we'll get to that later on in the show, but that right there is the voice of one Mr. Jesse Waldack. Jesse, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I finally got my computer. Every time I've updated my computer in the last 2 years, it messes up my audio, and I've had to roll it back because I couldn't figure out a way to get it to working the way I wanted to. I finally got it figured out the way I wanted it to. So my Windows machine is finally happy.
And you're happy because the Windows machine is happy. Well,
Yeah,
we're happy
because,
that you're happy.
I work in IT, and I know what holes in security can do. I don't want to have holes in security in my machines.
True. That is true.
Tim's learning all
Also,
about that in his school.
Speaking of holes in security, who let Justin Masson in here?
What? I was going to say, like, speaking of holes in my underwear. No, that's not the same thing. Okay. What's going on? Speaking of sounding better, I hope this sounds very nice. I got a new microphone. I'm very excited for it. Yes. I'm doing well, Marty. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Like last week, I had to actually phone into the show, So it's kind of weird. We were buried under inches of snow and ice because here in the South, everything shuts down. But look, I survived. Here I am. We actually, 2 days later after recording the show, we got to get out for the first time in 5 or 6 days.
That's crazy.
So we're here. Things are good. I got to spend a lot of quality time with my Switch. And so that was nice.
It's always nice, isn't it?
I did hate that, I couldn't be live with super video live with you guys so we could talk about the glories of Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury together.
It is good.
We did talk about it.
I thought we did well for what we had. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I think we're good.
Anyway, speaking of doing good with what we have, we've got a little bit of news tonight and a lot of your questions and comments. So let's get straight into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Justin, our news each and every week is brought to us by our fine patrons over at our Patreon. And if people wanted to join our Nintendo Dads Patreon, which, by the way, we've said for a while, you can do it for $1 and you can help, spread the good news about Nintendo Dads. We're changing that this week. I've decided let's a little branding change. I believe for what we offer that for $1
we should be giving a refund.
No, on contrary, my friend. For what we offer, I believe, especially as much as we hear about the quality of the community that you can get for just $1, right? That we are one of the best values on the internet.
Interesting.
I really do.
Proposition.
And so where can people go if they would like to join this amazing community that we're building?
Well, I want to add an extra proposition. You know what I mean? Like I'm up with all the like value propositions that we should add. I think we're gonna add a new channel to the Nintendo Dads podcast feed.
Okay.
Are you ready for it? Let me know. This is me pitching an idea to the team.
Sure.
All right.
I'm ready to catch.
Okay, you ready? Ready? It is Justin does ASMR.
I don't know how to spell that.
That's good, right? Is that what we're not doing?
I don't know that. I don't know that people want to.
I'll just like
hear
eat chips
you
into a
eat
microphone.
chips.
Pickles. No. Well, either which way, if they want to get on that dumpster fire that we offer, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, and that's
Tell
it.
you what, here's what we'll do. If you'll go and join up at our Patreon,
We promise not to give you
we
ASMR.
will not do Justin ASMR. If we do end up having to do it, can you just do one of like you playing a game and like clicking the buttons close to the microphone?
I could totally do that. I got a controller around here. Yeah, here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Bunch of this.
This is a preview.
Ready?
I'm falling asleep already.
Oh, Bowser, no, don't do it.
Yo, for real, can I just as an aside, here a sidebar to this. My wife, for a while, was having some sleep issues, and she really did try the ASMR thing. Yep. And one night, I wake up and it is pitch dark in our bedroom, and I hear this, something like this, like it's a male voice close to my bed, and it's like, you're going down into the depths. And I was like, what the? I'm not going anywhere. So like I'm sitting up in bed and I'm freaking out, and she's like, what? And I was like, what? Who is talking? There's somebody in this room. And she's like, no, it's just my ASMR videos.
Megan
I banned
Brown
her from listening to those anymore.
Nice. Megan Brown in the YouTube comments asks, says pass the chips because I'm having a bowl of chips right now. Are they ketchup? Actually, they are not. They are a bowl of spicy dill pickle kettle chips.
Whenever any food says it's
Costco.
spicy, it's usually, I always find them disappointing because I want spicy, and they very, very rarely follow through.
These are the tip of the tongue, tip of the teeth, tip of the lips, and you're kind of feeling the back of the throat. You know what I'm saying? So it's got a little bit.
You know where a good place to discuss this would be is for $5 patrons, and they can go over to the Snack Dads channel.
Snack Dads channel?
There's a Snack Dads channel on the Discord that you get access to for being a Patreon member, and you can do that. And look, you'll even get my review of these chocolate truffles that I bought tonight. Oh yeah, all those. Wow. See all those different varieties of truffles? They're going in here. They're going in here and just
that's post show content. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Post show.
It is. Tim's not here to say it, but hey, it's okay. But anyway, for $1 a month, go to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can back us for more, but we would just love to see you over there because I love hopping in Discord and chatting all the time with everybody. It's really cool, especially with all this kind of breaking news that we've had, and especially rumors. And so as we kick off our news section tonight, we're going to kick off with kind of what would you call a news rumor? Like
it's an announcement of an announcement.
Is it a numer?
No.
A ruse?
Word on the street?
I don't know. But anyway, so here is the deal. This week, of course, and this has been going on for a while, 2020 was rife with rumors of the Switch Pro or whatever the Switch Next is. And this week, according to insiders, some new information, concrete information about the Switch Pro has apparently been revealed that we'll see eventually to see if it's okay or not. But apparently that the Switch Pro is releasing this year, that it will display in 4K, and it will also include NVIDIA DLSS technology that NVIDIA is currently employing on its Shield tablets in other regions, which basically allows games to upscale and display at resolutions that they're not, maybe that they're not written at or they're not intended for. And so, of course, this comes from, and I say this jokingly but also respectfully, insiders,
quote
right?
unquote.
Yeah, that say that this is definitely happening in 2021. And this was our most voted on topic this week, guys. Here's what I take away from this: people want a new Switch.
I do.
People want a new Switch. People want something that is going to compete with next gen consoles, and
I don't
people want
necessarily
to be
need it
able-
to be comparable to a PS5. It's just mine's. I'm rocking my original day one, almost 4-year-old model, and
Same here.
It's starting to show its age in some games.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when mine is overheating, that playing games, just like playing games, then something's wrong there. And I've contemplated very heavily buying the Mario Switch, but I know that as soon as I do it, they're going to introduce Switch Pro, right? and I was on a podcast a while ago when I first started podcasting. It's what got me into podcasting. Me and some friends doing a pop culture podcast. And I remember sitting around one night recording an episode. We recorded on Thursday nights, just like this. And Nintendo casually shadow dropping the 3DS XL. Just like, here it is. Here's a news. Here's your news report. Here's your presser. And here's the website. It's already up. We announced it via Twitter. I kind of think that's what they're going to do with this. Like, it would not surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either.
Because didn't they kind of do that with the Switch Lite too?
Maybe, I don't remember.
I think they had an actual direct.
Yeah, that was paired with, maybe it was part of V3 because it was announced at the same time that the Link's Awakening was announced.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Well,
because they were released on the same day.
This comes from a guy who actually does have a little bit of credibility. He is a member of Reset Era. Is a known industry insider Nate Drake, which when he is not performing great heists on the PlayStation, he brings us Nintendo news. And here's what he says. This is the quote. He says, "Won't really talk about the tech specs that I have. Talk more about the tech specs that I have. It has DLSS and it has 4K functionality. No reason to go deeper than that right now. That's enough to illustrate the device as a meaningful upgrade. First-party support will span the new hardware and current Switch for at least a couple of years. We were shown as much yesterday, and I talked about it on my latest podcast. But then he says, let's say I'm confident it gets announced this year. A delay to 2022 would need to be communicated in the next few months as dev kits and third-party partners begin to plan software for the device. As of this very moment, February 18th, 2021, I believe the hope remains for a 2021 launch."
Gamer says they'll announce it on April 1st. And if they do, then the big debate is this real or hoax?
I believe that a Switch Pro is planned, or I believe they were also calling it Super Switch, right? Super Nintendo Switch, not. I believe that's what I saw at one point this week.
I'd be okay with Super Switch.
Or Super Nintendo Switch. I believe it's in the works in some capacity, right? They understand that their console needs to have a boost, right? You would do an iteration to help boost sales. They don't need that right now. I think it's lined nicely with Breath of the Wild 2, and I think Breath of the Wild 2 is probably a 2021 game. I think it's kind of revealed like in September, October, and comes out then.
Do you think that some of the delay, and I use quotes again here on Breath of the Wild 2, is that it's going to span consoles again, or span like the Wii U to the Switch? Originally Breath of the Wild was Wii U, and then now, it's going to come out on Switch day and date as well. And now look at here is the here's the news or the rumor that he's giving of first party support's going to be on both versions of the Switch for a couple of years, and that lines up nicely with the original Breath of the Wild. And
with how long it normally takes to make a Zelda game, they're kind of on track. I don't think they've delayed anything. In fact, they may have to delay this console release to match the development cycle. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like, okay, we're planning this for the Switch. Oh, well, now we're doing this, and you need to find a way to make it work on both.
It's like I wonder, and I think the question is in here. I mean, Mecha Dragon said, the Switch Pro is probably Nintendo's next console, right? Like, what does is Nintendo going to change their console, like what we view as console cycles, right? Are they going to try and take the Apple approach? And I think that's a little bit unclear. Like, is it just every 5 years or 4 years we see a new model of the Switch, and that's the newest thing, the latest and greatest they move forward with? And I think that's the thing that's been discussed before. It'll be interesting to see what their actual plans are, because I think the other part is I mean, they have to make software. I don't think they want to divide the software base, right? I don't think
Agreed.
they want to say like, oh, well, this is only for the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
I think it's built on both platforms, but the Switch Pro kind of does a push or changes the res.
I don't see, I could be wrong, and I would like to be, if I'm wrong, great, but I'm not seeing this as the next gen. I'm seeing this as the iterative. This is
Correct.
the DSi. This is the new 3DS. This is the PS4 Pro, etc.
Yeah. What do you guys think is, maybe just a quick around the horn on this one, then we'll move on. What is the number one thing that the Switch Pro has to have for you to enjoy it, or to be like, yeah, sure, look, I'm all in?
Well, to me, to enjoy it, it needs to exist. But okay. I know that's not what you meant.
What's the one change that needs to happen?
Well, I can think of a few, but I think if I were to pick one, I'd say 1080p handheld.
Okay. Marty?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind is something they can do right now, and that's competent online.
So here's the thing, and I guess that's a great point. That's not dependent on the console. That's
the network infrastructure is that's separate from the console.
It would make sense for them to be holding back some UI upgrades or interface upgrades or connectivity upgrades for the next thing. Honestly, my Switch as it is right now has the absolute worst Wi-Fi connectivity of all time. Like, all of my other devices are pulling full bars anywhere I go. Switch is like one or none. They need to fix some internal
the Wi-Fi antenna has always been low end, and we knew that from the start, and so getting a better antenna would help.
The other thing I'd like to see them do is, how close to the edge can they get that bezel? Like a bigger screen, and I don't I'm not necessarily one of the people who has to have, like Jesse's, like 1080p handheld. I don't think this is going to be a handheld. I think it's going to be a home console only. I still stand by that, because they're going to have to be able to they're going to have a box or a casing to be able to fit that power into.
And that was one of my predictions from last.
I could see it being like, hey, you've got a Switch, why not go ahead and get a Switch Pro 2, and you can play Mario Odyssey 2 at home with 4K, or you could take it on the go with your Switch.
Yeah, which is kind of what I meant by, being iterative. Is it's not going to break the fan base. Any game that plays on the Switch will play on the Switch Mark III, Super Switch, Pro, whatever we want to call it, and vice versa. So there shouldn't be, at least anytime soon, any Super Switch only games. They don't want to do that.
Hopefully it won't be like the new Nintendo 3DS where there's only one game that has to be on the new Nintendo 3DS.
That was maybe 3 or 4.
I just think Xenoblade Chronicles is pretty much the only high-profile one.
Yeah, well, that and the other one that was digital only, but pretty much the entire Super Nintendo Virtual Console.
That's true. Still don't understand that, but anyway, right now these are just rumors. These are just out there in the ether, so take it as you will. I'm with Justin. I do believe this is coming at some point. I think the Super Switch or Switch Pro is Thanos, right? At this point, it is inevitable, and so it's going to happen. We just don't know when. Justin, I want to ask you this before we move on, and we may have already covered this on the show, but it's always good to go back and revisit. Do you think that we would have seen this by now if there had been no COVID?
No, I don't think so necessarily. I think
Well, he's thinking. I think it is a possibility because we think COVID bumped up the demand for home entertainment, and so without COVID, we probably wouldn't be at 80 million units. We wouldn't be in a state of depression like we were on year 4 of Wii U, but it wouldn't be as great as it is now. So there would probably be more likely to want to push that out earlier.
Yeah, that was kind of why I paused there and pulled back, because if we didn't have COVID, then we wouldn't have had the peak sales numbers that we did during that time, and that wouldn't have like just accelerated that. And I think Nintendo could have said, yeah, year 4 is a bit of a slump for us, so we need to be prepared to launch this thing or to push it a bit more. But it's tough to say, because I think they would have also realized that they were coming into November. They wouldn't have had it on like in April, right? Or else they would have released it in April, and they wouldn't have put it in November because they'd be competing against PlayStation and Xbox. It may have been scheduled for this March, potentially, like the rumored March or April that had been talked about, and it's got kicked down the street because the sales numbers aren't there, potentially. Because the sales numbers are there and they don't need to actually pull the trigger on it. So it's really tough to say. I'd be interested in seeing, a book or something in the end about where all this shook out to be.
I think that, and I was thinking that as you were saying all that I would love to eventually get like from all the big 3, like what did this do to you really? Mm-hmm. Like what did it delay? And how did you cope through that? Because side note here, watching PlayStation's State of Play today, they've got some really good stuff coming. I was very happy today to be a PS5 owner.
I was put to
looking
sleep.
At some of the stuff. What'd you say?
I was put to sleep.
Oh, well, okay. I just like that Kena game looks amazing. I can't wait for that. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some other things here. The other biggest thing that our poll numbers wanted us to talk about was upcoming releases, guys. We got a ton of upcoming releases and stuff, even that got revealed this week. So, Jesse, why don't you run down some of those for us?
Sure. I have 2 big announcements from BlizzCon. The first one was the Blizzard Arcade Collection, which was released later that same day. 3 games in the collection: Lost Vikings from '92, Rock and Roll Racing from '93, and Blackthorn from '94. Are these all the arcade versions, as opposed to Super Nintendo versions?
I was going to talk about that and what I've been playing.
I don't know. I haven't bought it.
So each 3 of the 3 games has what is called a definitive edition, where some improvements to the game have been made. So, like for Rock and Roll Racing, they did widescreen. And they also uploaded CD quality music tracks. So all of the music from the original game, like Judas Priest Breaking the Law, George Thorogood, Bad to the Bone, it is the actual song now, as well as adding in, each game also has the Super Nintendo version and the Genesis version. And in some cases, like Blackthorn, there was a Super Nintendo version, and there was a Sega 32X version, and that's there as well. So really cool that all of these things are in there, but the definitive edition kind of takes the best from both versions of the game, whereas like the Genesis version often came out later and had new music or new levels. It adds that together into one package.
Yeah. And I did hear that the Rock and Roll Racing was not stream friendly due to the music and licensing in it.
Well, I recorded it and I did a video of it on our YouTube channel, and so far we didn't get a copyright strike, and I actually used the MIDI music in it. So you can go over there and check that out. Now I had to change it and turn it off because I was aware of, the CD quality tracks, breaking that. But which
maybe
also reminds me, Metallica played during
That's
BlizzCon,
ridiculous.
and Twitch silenced them during the actual broadcast.
Wouldn't they have an argument for if there was a DCMA thrown that, hey, you are doing this live? I don't know,
but Twitch, I think it's a great example of how DCM, all of that has just gone too far.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Yeah. So the game released for $19.99 for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and PC. And the other announcement that relates to Nintendo is Diablo 2 Resurrected. Mm-hmm. I haven't played this game since like 2003, I think. It's been a long time. This game will be coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox Series, and PC. It'll have remastered graphics, cross-platform progression, and will release later this year for $39.99.
Yeah,
and that's really cool because Diablo 3 on Switch was very well received.
Yeah, I haven't played. I didn't play the Switch version of Diablo 3. The PC version of Diablo 2 was very PC centric, with a whole row of buttons for your skills. So I don't know how the console versions of that
fully expected to play exactly like Diablo 3.
Yeah,
it would not. I bet it's built on that engine.
Yeah, John and Drew said it looked like it was in the Diablo 3 engine. So, I did buy the PC version of Diablo 3 and couldn't get past Act 2. So, I'm interested in checking this one out.
I would also say regarding that Blizzard Arcade collection, what they also did, so they did have the collection, but they also had like a deluxe collection that they also offered to purchase, which had those games that Marty had referenced before, but they also had loot boxes or loot packs that went with Diablo 3 and Overwatch if you had them, and rare skins as well. So you got to kind of choose between the two of them. There was about a $10 price difference, as I recall, between the two offerings. And so again, good opportunity for them to celebrate their success at BlizzCon, really getting people into it. I was a little bit disappointed from BlizzCon, a couple things. And I don't understand why Hearthstone is not on the Nintendo Switch. Like, it just feels like it's a game that could work on it, could naturally fit on a handheld. Maybe there's something I'm missing there. I would also say the other thing that I really liked about it, and if you haven't had an opportunity, I talked about I wanted Overwatch 2 to be coming in 2021. It was one of those bets I had. I've already lost the bet. But they did like a 40-minute behind the scenes of Overwatch 2 kind of director's cut. We've put it on our Facebook page as well to take a look at. If you're an Overwatch fan, interested in that genre, take a watch of that video. It is really, really good. It got me more and more excited for Overwatch. I'm already a huge Overwatch fan. I'm hyped for Overwatch 2. And it kind of got me like just going. Like I was like, yeah, more Overwatch. Let's go. So I'm excited. And it was announced in 2019 that was coming to the Switch. I have not seen any information that says otherwise at this point. So I'm hoping we'll see that some more information relatively soon.
Awesome. Do believe Overwatch, did it not, Overwatch 2 also get announced that it would be delayed?
Yes, So what they have said is they said do not expect it in 2021. So
I fully believe that was a 2021 game, and that was a big COVID delay too.
Yeah.
Because there was a big push for that in early 2020.
Yep.
And it looked like we were going to get news all year, and then I think they were like, "Whoa, hold up."
Yeah, then it's stalled.
It's if you watch the video, it sounds like they have gone to the drawing board several times to make a lot of different changes on it. But I would say and I know Marty, you're an Overwatch fan. Have you watched that behind the scenes clip?
I did not get to yet.
I would really recommend it. They've got a new character, Soji. Now, sure, she's Canadian, so I'm already buying into it. It's got like his awesome rail gun. Looks really cool to play. They got some new locations. Looks great.
Well, and I want to mention too that speaking of behind the scenes, there is some really cool behind the scenes stuff from Rock and Roll Racing and Lost Vikings of Blackthorn included with that Blizzard collection. So if you're a fan of that old school Blizzard stuff, which I was, back in the day, I played all of those games on the original, versions. And so I was super happy to see these kind of get their due, especially Rock and Roll Racing. So many nights wasted to that guy lost in that game with friends when I was a teenager. So let's talk about some other news headlines real quick. Blizzard had their announcement. Pokemon will also present tomorrow or today, as you are hearing this. Chances are, if you're listening to us in the afternoon on Friday the 26th, it's already happened. 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. This will be in honor of the 25th anniversary. Already today, they have begun the celebration as, like, I can't even with this. Post Malone covered a Hootie and the Blowfish song in honor of Pokemon.
Also, as the cool kids would say nowadays, it slaps. You know what I'm saying? It slaps.
It's a bop. It's a bop.
Yeah.
Did you see what I did there?
Yeah,
I
think
there. That's another one.
Is that another one? My kids
That's
aren't
another
using
one. It's
that
a
one.
bop.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway, it's actually pretty good. And as
Yeah.
a Hootie and the Blowfish fan from way back, like I thought he did the track justice. And as you listen to it, there are sounds embedded in it from various Pokemon games. Like he's actually used some of the soundtrack. So I thought that was pretty cool. But that's out there. Apparently, it's part of a larger 25th anniversary soundtrack that is being released for Pokemon. We don't know what else is going to be on that. But you can also get a 25th anniversary Pikachu that knows the move Sing in Pokemon Sword and Shield. You use the code P25 Music. So this goes along with the album release and the track release today. P25 Music will get you the Pikachu. What do we expect to be released here, guys? Like, I know, Justin, I know you're hyped.
Oh my gosh, I'm so hyped for the Pokemons, the Pikachus and the Ryus and the Kens and Wobble Puffet.
I don't know what animal this is or what Pokemon this is.
Yeah, it's pretty genuine. I have no clue. But here's the thing, though. The amount of people, this is another case of I'm really happy that somebody else is really happy. You've said before, it just wasn't my jam. I don't have 25 years of history with that thing. I have like 2 or 3, and I'm not super into it, like super lore. But I'm always interested in, like, it's a big event. It's 25 years. How are you going to celebrate it? What's it look like? I know there's a lot of people that are excited. There's this rumor of a remaster of Diamond and Pearl. Are those are games, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be Gen 4.
Yeah, I've kind of heard
people have been wanting them for about 8 years.
Yeah,
it's
so
the
like
it's the only Pokemon game or generation that has not yet been remade. Is that correct?
Well,
don't ask me.
Well, 5 hasn't. It's the next in line.
Well, it's the next one up. It's the next one in
line. One's been remade twice, then 2's been remade, and 3's been remade, and 4's next.
I genuinely suspect, besides Pokemon Snap, which comes out in April, I do think we're going to get another Pokemon game later this year in November, right? Because it makes money and they do really well, and they can make a lot of money off of nostalgia. So I wouldn't be shocked. Is it too early to see a trailer for the new Pikachu movie? Did they confirm Pikachu 2?
There will be a Detective Pikachu 2. I think there'll probably be some news on it. I don't know that we'll see a trailer. Yeah. We might see a logo.
Or this is going to be like 10 minutes of Pokemon Sleep. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Justin, please don't you bring that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Pokemon Sleep or Pokemon Brush Your Teeth or whatever it was, like the weird garbage that happened a year ago.
Maybe this time it will be Pokemon Poop.
Could be.
It's like your Pokemon potty training app for your kids.
Probably, we'll probably expect to see Pokemon Unite news, which I heard
Canada, Great White North.
They're having a beta that is, if you're Canadian,
which I am. How
really?
Lucky am I, eh?
Except the one person in this entire cast of the whole show that cares not even this much about Pokemon. And beta. But
here's a great part. The out is that it's for Android phones only. And sure, look at it, I'm an Apple guy. So man, I was so pumped for it until I found out that it was Android. Oh shucks, what a miss. But I'm sure there are
games, but
I'm sure. But let me say this. I am sure that there are some of our Canadian listeners who are on Android devices who are excited for this. And if they are, and they want to send us footage and content and reviews of it and opinions of it, man, you are more than welcome to.
That is not where I thought you were going with that. I thought you were going, and if they are, good for them.
Have you played any MOBAs before?
God bless you. What?
I'll take that as a no.
No, I have never played
Multiplayer online battle arena.
No, but I sometimes I watch them. I've looked at pictures of them. And I know League of the Legends is something that's quite big with the MOBA community.
Wow.
Just a little bit.
Actually, I watched a great video. I watched a movie on like League of Legends once. It was quite interesting, actually. I would love for that game to actually come to the Switch. Genuinely, I think it'd be interesting.
I've never played it.
It's amazing that we were supposed to talk about Pokemon here, and now we're talking about League of Legends.
At least not Apex Legends, you know what I'm saying?
I
And it's
will
one
say
step
this.
away. That's how we get there, you know?
Well, that's next week.
See what happened
That's
there?
next week.
League of Legends, Apex Legends. All right, guys, let's talk about Fortnite. Here we go. This is how it works. Do you know what I'm saying? I can bring it all around whenever I want.
Here's the deal. Like, at this point,
Talk about chips again.
like talking about Pokemon, I don't want any remakes if they're not Let's Go.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I want a Let's Go style game, like, because here's the deal, like, as a person who had, I don't know, I guess the only description like that I could say about, like, where was I with Pokemon before Sword and Shield and Let's Go? I had flirted with Pokemon.
Ooh,
Like, I would buy the games and I would play like 15 minutes of them and be like, yeah, it's good. I did it. I did the thing. And then I'd go back to it and I'll be like, oh, now I got to start over. And I'd play another 15 minutes and get a little bit further than where I wanted to, was last time. But Let's Go, like, it looked like the cartoon. Yeah. It had a ton of charm and personality. I thought it was exactly how it should have been from the beginning. And Sword and Shield was just great to me. I enjoyed it. So if they want to remake, like if they want to do Let's Go Johto or Let's Go Meryl or whatever other, because like, let's just be honest, the Gen 2 starters are crap. I don't care what anybody says. None of them are like Pikachu or Eevee. So find a cute Pokemon. There's a mouse Pokemon that's blue that bounces around on a ball. That's Meryl. Yeah, let's go Meryl. Do that.
You just want an excuse to whip out your Pokeball.
That's right. Yeah, I do. I definitely have been waiting for 2 years now.
Oh my God, Jesse! How quickly you had that ready.
Look,
he's like, just happened to have brought this in from the car to charge.
I also like how you have double balls.
You know, I dual wielded when I played Pokemon Go. No laughing.
I think we found our show title, gentlemen.
Double Pokemon balls. Oh my gosh.
Dual wielding Pokeball.
I will say this though. Like, Let's Go. I had great fun with that, and so did my kids. And as much as I'm busting about the Pokeball, and by the way, thank you Nintendo for sending that to us. Which was great. Like it was such an interactive experience. It was a lot of fun, and I think in a lot of ways, I think the experience and the content that was learned from Pokemon Go that made it really approachable, that made it really accessible. I think fans in some ways were kind of disappointed that not a lot of that, not everything of that transitioned over to Sword and Shield, but Sword and Shield tried some different things. I think they're supposed to. But I do think the Let's Go series is a great opportunity to reintroduce, make it approachable. They're going to do well with this tomorrow. There's going to be stuff. They're going to make money.
I would be really happy if they took Pokemon Snap, since it's on rails, and they introduced a DLC to it where instead of taking their pictures, you were shooting them, and it was called Pokemon Safari. I would be okay with that. Like, it's Ash Ketchum. Wow. He's finally had enough.
You realize they had a Pokemon Safari in a previous game. It wasn't actual
Were you
guns.
shooting Pokemon?
But it was.
And then
were you hunting them for sport?
Because I would be
okay with that.
You know how we could. You know what we could do is then there's like this like dome or circle that slowly begins to shrink in more and more, and the Pokemon begin to squeeze in more and more.
Let me guess. You start with 100 of them.
Sure, I guess there's 150 of them. You gotta shoot them all. You gotta shoot them all.
Now the Pokemon
you doing
squads,
solos, duos, trios.
Gotta shoot them all. Gotta shoot them all.
Right.
By the way, Justin, you never did the Pokemon rap.
No. What is the Pokemon rap?
Weren't you supposed to do the Pokemon rap?
Chat, can we pull this out? Was I supposed to do a Pokemon rap at some
Everybody
point?
say yes.
Oh, you're a real beast. I'd like to see where I was told I was supposed to do that. But that does sound like something that I would say, yes, I would do.
Maul
Well, I
says
thought
he
it was
is
if
now.
He is now.
If we got to a certain look, that is early. We're planning early. That is a 2021 extra life goal.
There
if
you
we
go.
reach our full goal, Justin will do his own version of the Pokemon.
Yeah, I will
draft.
dress up like Ash Ketchum. Is that his name?
Is it-
Ash Ketchum. Little backpack. I'll put on a t-shirt that's 4 sizes too
is
small.
it the
gonna
original
turn your
one
hat
or the
around?
updated one with 850 of them?
I can barely say 5 of them right. All right. Either which way, if you guys are excited for us, let us know. But yeah, good for Pokemon. Good for Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's some other things we just want to hit. Of course, we know that Pyra and Mithra are coming to Smash. This week it was revealed that Sakurai Presents Pyra/Mithra will be released on March 4th at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Which
Now that's
tells
not the
me,
release. That's not the release date of the actual characters.
No,
That's just.
But
yeah, okay.
but I was about to say, which tells me by that early release, that's the release date of that character. They're coming that day.
Yeah, they're normal. Well, they
yeah, it's a
very
Tuesday,
rarely
it's a Thursday, isn't it?
day and date. It's usually within a week, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the last few of these presentations have not come out that early in the morning.
No, because the last one was for Minecraft, and that was on like a Saturday because they revealed that like the Minecraft thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right that I wouldn't be shocked if it was out today or out. then.
Unless the idea is it is a worldwide premiere and they're doing it for audiences in the East.
Could be. But you know what? That would make sense. Myra and Pyra and Mithra.
Pyra and Mithra.
Oh my gosh, are big in the East. And also, did you hear that like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has been sold out, like over in Japan, like physical versions of it?
Crazy.
So yeah,
More power to them. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah.
Tried that game. 2 hours in, I was like, nope.
I have not. Well, I had got the Golden Torna DLC and the game, and I've played about 4 or 5 hours of the Golden Torna, and then I got distracted by something shiny. So I haven't even.
The Golden Torna wasn't shiny enough.
No, it was good, but I got distracted by something else that like didn't make. Well, here's the actual reality of it. I didn't realize you had to turn on. Well, I know. I didn't realize you had to turn on saves. And I went through like 3 hours of the game and died and had to start from scratch again. And I was like, oh, I am mad. I am real mad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, that's about it for our news.
Well, we got some more news.
I have
items.
additional game releases that we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
yet.
Sorry, I skipped those.
You did.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
Okay.
My bad.
So this one was originally announced, I think, almost a year ago. It was, Cyanide and Happiness Freakopolis. Back then, it was called Part 1. So I figured originally they were planning on releasing that in 2020 and then future parts later. It is no longer called Part 1. They took that out. So I think it's all the entire game now in one package. That will release on March 11th of this year.
Close.
Are you sure it's not called Part 1?
Also,
Part one's not part of the title as well?
Not anymore. I looked at the
Because-
Nintendo website and it was not there anymore.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Because I put in our request for the game today, and Part 1 was in the title.
Really?
Yeah.
Then maybe Nintendo's confused.
Because I was like, that's a very odd naming convention.
Because I literally took out the Part 1 from our future release list today. Anyway, so it may or may not be Part 1. We'll find out next week.
So I apologize. I am on the site that we use when we are requesting games. Cyanide and Happiness Freakopolis Part 1 Hall Pass to Hell is the title.
Wow.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, that is being used in the for content creators to submit their requests.
Something tells me that is not a dad-approved game. I mean,
Probably
it might be
not.
a good game. I'm just saying maybe not a family-approved game.
Maybe not a family approved game.
All pass to hell.
Yeah.
So another game that originally was in our rumors section, but then it got escalated to news the following day. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming to the Switch. Now, this is kind of a funny story I wanted to tell. this all started. The rumor started because of a conversation between multiple Twitter accounts. Tony Hawk's Twitter account wrote, "Just heard hashtag Crash 4 is coming to new platforms, and I'm kind of jealous. Hey, at Crash Bandicoot, can you hook at Tony Hawk the game up?" Crash Bandicoot's Twitter replies, "Whoa, who dis? JK, let me see what I can do. At Activision, any help?" And then Nintendo of America, and I did verify it wasn't a spoof account, it was the real account, says, first it does just eyeball emoji, and then replied later with, "Come on, Crash, make it happen for at Tony Hawk the game." And then 24 hours later, it was officially announced that the game will release March 26th on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series.
Can I ask a question here?
You just did.
Why was this not mentioned during the Direct? Because this is a pretty huge announcement. I think not announcing it during the Direct was dumb.
I just because I was there watching Twitter when it happened, this whole Twitter conversation was funny. But if you missed it, then it wouldn't be as funny.
I mean, I think this is. I mean, this very much feels like the 1990s Activision marketing team, shenanigans. I think it creates. They may have said, like, we can create a bigger conversation by not being in it this way, right? Like, I think they're able to own the conversation outside the Direct because, hey Marty, what was the 12th game in the Direct? You don't remember, right? Ninja Gaiden, the 3-pack, by the way. I checked. I didn't check. But what I'm saying there is that, like, they can if it is Ninja Gaiden, it's pure guess, pure lucky shot. They can own it. They can own their own conversation, their own beat, right? And they get their own space. So
now I'm looking it up.
Sure, fair enough. The other games that was announced last week or this week as well that had been leaked before that I thought was going to actually be in that Direct is Star Wars Republic Commando. This was originally released back in 2005 and is coming to the Nintendo Switch and Xbox 4 on April 6th. Did either of you play Star Wars Republic Commando?
No, and I'm super excited that this is coming because I didn't even know this game existed. It was on because it was on Xbox. And there's a portion of Xbox history that I missed because I didn't get an Xbox until late in the console's life cycle. I am so glad this is coming. Like a Star Wars shooter with tactics. Yes. Yes. All of the yes to this. I can't wait. And it seems to have pretty good buzz around it. So hopefully that means it is a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 12th game was Stubbs the Zombie.
Also a good game. Which is interesting. Let me say this. It's funny that we're talking about this because Aspire, who did Stubbs the Zombie, is also bringing Republic Commando to the Switch.
Oh, interesting.
So we may see other Xbox games make their way over. I love this because, these are games that I never would have picked. Like, I never would have been like, yeah, let's put Stubbs the Zombie on Switch, but it's really good.
Is Aspire just picking up old licenses like THQ Nordic? Are they a subsidiary? Like, I'd be curious about, like, where that... Because, I mean, just and again, nothing wrong with that, but just randomly kind of picking up, Xbox games that are...
They were originally founded to port top gaming titles to Mac OS.
Interesting. But then they're like, hey, where actually people buy games? Not Mac OS.
Yeah.
Especially
I'm playing
in the 2000s.
so many games on my Mac.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane. Anyway.
That covers everything that I had in the notes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there is a conversation. I think the chat was about, like, all the games that are coming to the Switch coming up soon. Right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, my brain and my wallet is breaking. So let me give you a quick list of what I got going on.
March of 2021.
Yeah,
I have almost becoming like September of 2019.
Yes. So here's what I got going. I got Sea of Solitude next week. Apex Legends, obviously that following week. Crash Bandicoot 4 the following or that week as well, same as Apex. Plants vs. Zombies is the week following. The week after that would have been Monster Hunter. I chose not to get Monster Hunter. But yeah, there's just a ton of content going on. And I know that like Marty Stubbs is in there. Like there's a lot of content coming.
So wait, Sea of Solitude's out next week on Switch?
Yeah, March 4th. It's available right now in the eShop Director's Cut.
Gummit. Yeah. Like I gotta have a break, y'all.
Yeah.
I gotta have a break. For me, March is that and Apex and more Fortnite and Stubbs, and I'm not getting Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I said no to Monster Hunter.
Commando.
That's April.
I will probably be picking up Tony Hawk as well, because I did not pick up on Tony Hawk until Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3.
Yeah.
And I was going through the I want to be a skate kid phase, but I don't want to ride a skateboard because all of this on a skateboard hitting the ground, not good.
For sure.
Right? So but everything skate related, loved it. So I'm like, I love those games. I missed 1 and 2.
I have 18 games
I really
in this list flagged as either with a specific date in March or just March 2021.
Yeah, and then like there's so much, and then I suspect somewhere in March Nintendo's gonna be like, oh, by the way, here's an indie world. But then I actually look into like
direct.
Yeah, but then I look into actually like April and May, and there's nothing in those months that interest me, except for Knockout City interests me in May, and then after that, the next one I got is Mario Golf at the end of June. So it's peaks and valleys. Do they read the chat? Yes, we do read the chat. Thanks for asking. Someone asked,
did we miss something?
No, I'm trying to figure that out right now. They just said, do they read the chat? Yes, we do read the chat. We do. If there's a question or a comment, throw it in the chat, and we will look to respond.
Yeah. Well, until that happens, though, how about we move on to some events?
Let's do it.
Jesse, I want you to tell us about Pokemon Go.
You do?
I do.
I don't even have I do have some Pokemon names. Normally I try to throw as many Pokemon names in there as I can, just because you do have a difficult.
We know how much. Guest.
Okay, so we have Pokemon Go Season of Legends event, which starts March 1st, 8 a.m. through June 1st, 10 a.m. local times. Throughout the month of March, Gible will be the research breakthrough encounter. Incarnate forms of Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus will be available in 5-star raids starting March 1st.
Not how I would have pronounced those names, but you're doing great.
Yeah, if you played last year, especially during the start of the pandemic, these were the forms that were out around March, April time. And one of them I'm missing because I didn't go out that week. Then the Therian forms of Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus will be in 5-star raids starting March 16th. Those are new to the game. Those forms have not been in before. There's going to be new Mega Pokemon in Mega Raids starting March 16th. More details to follow on that. Pokemon hatching from eggs and spawning in the wild will be updated with this new season. 5-star raids will be given an XP boost, which is good if you're trying to get any level, but especially since they opened up to level 50. I need 7 million XP just to get to 43 on one account. So I don't know what the bonus XP is, but that'll be helpful. And then there'll be multiple opportunities for free remote raid passes throughout the season.
Awesome.
And then one other event I have here, Super Mario Bros. 35 is having a second World Account Challenge. It already started. It started on the 22nd, and it'll go through March 1st. The challenge is to defeat 350 million Goomba worldwide. If successful, every participant at the end will receive 350 My Nintendo Platinum points.
This is going to happen. Because have you ever been in a game where all the Goombas start coming toward you?
Yep.
Yep, it's going to happen.
And this weekend's special event features levels that have Goomba everywhere. So
There
I
you
haven't
go.
I haven't played since the Bowser Count Challenge, but this weekend I will launch it and play a game or two.
Yeah, I haven't
Just
played since then either. So yeah, I'll definitely have to jump in. I remember you've only got about a month left to play this game, unless for some crazy reason Nintendo says, you know what, we're going to let it stick around. Which I kind of think like, why wouldn't you? But anyway,
I'm waiting for it to free up a square on my Switch.
you
well,
realize
you
you
are
can free up the
occasionally
square
a
at any
joyless
time you
person.
want, right?
Yeah, you can.
I know,
You
but
can
I
delete
then
it
but
right
I
now.
I know, but I feel that once Nintendo takes it from me, then I'm justified to be upset about it. If I delete it, that's on my own. That's on my own.
Wow.
That's on me. But if Nintendo takes it,
Wow.
then I can be
Okay.
very upset about something I don't genuinely care about.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, speaking of things that you have been upset about, let's talk about what we've been playing.
Let's do it.
Justin, you and I today had a little funny thing happen.
We did.
This is called what happens when the cast of Nintendo Dads does not communicate. And it's called Marty and Justin both bought Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection.
Nothing
and
wrong with
both
that.
filmed first look videos
Indeed.
and uploaded them at almost the same time.
Sure did.
Gee, no
So-
one else did a Let's Play of the game I played.
That's true.
Shocking.
That's
yeah, I
true.
don't. No one else likes Persona 5. Why would we do that?
So,
That's not the game I'm talking about, but we'll
No,
get to
that's
that.
not the game.
Justin, I want to hear your thoughts on this new Ghosts and Goblins game because I have some thoughts on it.
Sure.
But I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so in my video, which will be launched tomorrow, and by the way, the title of it is Ghosts and Goblins Rage. Because you are going to see, like, you guys need to tune in because the last 3 minutes of it, I, like, lose my mind at this game. I get so angry. I literally have to kind of walk away, breathe. I think I said before, Ghosts and Goblins played a lot when I was a kid on Sega. That was like the only Sega game I really liked, but I really enjoyed it. Right? It was a tough kind of platforming game. I thought this was going to be like just basically a remake of it. And I would say it is a resurrection. It's an iteration on the series. It is not a one-for-one remake. It holds a lot of what we know to be true in Ghosts and Goblins to be there, right? So the movement feels the exact same. The music is obviously there. The characters, Arthur getting hit, your quest, the kind of the difficulty of it. But the levels are new. They're definitely new or remastered, remade. There's inspirations from it. So I really like that about it as well. A couple of the things I really thought were great about it is there are levels of difficulty you can choose.
Yes.
And what is the very top one? Do you remember?
Legend.
Yeah, so that's Legend, Knight, Squire, and then Page. And each of those has different kind of like, basically it's how hard it's going to be. And whether you have additional lives and
If the levels have checkpoints.
well, no, the levels all have the checkpoints, but it's your ability to kind of move or move away from a checkpoint. The other nice part is I like that if you die several times at one spot, it actually comes up on the prompt and says like, yeah, do you want to like turn this down to the next level of like difficulty? So I thought that was a really great function. So the accessibility part of it, I really liked. One of the comments I had about it was that it feels so weird. Ghosts and Goblins was developed or created back in the 90s, right? We've had
80s.
80, was it 80s? Okay, so like 30 plus years of game design changing, and Arthur can still not
40.
still cannot change like angles on his shots. They're always north, south, east, or west. He cannot do diagonal shots, and it absolutely drives me bonkers. If you enjoy Ghosts and Goblins, I think you'll enjoy this game. It's fun. I've enjoyed it. It is definitely rage-inducing. I had some spots where I was like, I got just really frustrated by it. I will say this about it. I do believe it's a bit higher price than it should be. In Canada, it came up as 40 USD, which is pretty high. I would recommend saying, if you like Ghosts and Goblins, put it on your wish list. I don't think you need to buy it now, right? There isn't a hype conversation about it right now. Put in your wish list, and in like 4 months from now, Capcom's going to have a sale. It'll be like 50% off. Pick it up then. But it is a lot of fun. I'm having a good time with it.
I see it as $29.99.
Yeah, and which I think is what it was in the U.S. Canada it was 40. So my commentary is there is
you said 40 USD, so I thought like
I apologize.
$45 for it.
No, I paid 40 Canadian with it. Sorry,
Okay,
Marty. What are your
makes
thoughts
sense
on this thing?
So I will first and foremost, I'll absolutely agree with you and about the price thing, but I do think, on the other hand, that if you appreciate this type of remake, then you do need to buy this game eventually.
Yeah,
and maybe even at the price that it is. And here's why: because I think it will send a message to Capcom that and other developers, we appreciate thoughtful, well done remakes like this, because it is extremely well done.
Yeah, it is.
Graphically, it is an absolute treat.
Audio, sound design is great. Oh, the best part is the sound design is like, you hear it instantly. You're like, oh yeah, there it is. But then you're like, oh wait, like they've done a great remix of it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's the sound design is good.
And even the upgrades to gameplay, like with adding in it's almost like the best way I know to describe this game is if you've ever played the original Ghosts and Goblins, but then you've also played Ghouls and Ghosts, which was on the Sega Genesis early on. It's kind of a marriage of those. It's kind of like it took some of the levels and concepts from that game and also married them with the Ghosts and Goblins concept from the arcade, with magic and different things. There's brand new weapons and ways, like even Super Ghouls and Ghosts for the Super Nintendo. There are some enemies and set pieces and things that come in from that game as well. And I think it's masterfully done. But this afternoon, I finished the game on page, like in an hour. And it was fun. I told Justin, like, the only way I know to describe it is I kind of just ramrodded my way through it, because in Page, you have unlimited lives. You don't start at a checkpoint almost 99% of the time. When you die, you appear right where you were and you just start over. So bosses, like, you could just hammer on them and they go down, right? So it's not really like it helps you get a feel for the game, but it also helps you enjoy it if you suck at it. And for the most part, like I would say 95% of the population, we suck at Ghosts and Goblins games, right? Mm-hmm. So this is an enjoyable way to do it, but I don't think it's a $30 enjoyable way to do it. Now, if you love a challenge and you want a 2D Dark Souls-esque difficulty type game, and you're a sadomasochist who loves punishment in video game form, then this game is for you. It's beautifully done, but I think you can wait for it to drop about $10.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, Marty's Let's Play is up, our first look, and then you will see mine. And stay until the end, folks. Stay until the end. Yeah, it's a heartbreaker. Real heartbreaker. Marty, do you want me to talk about other games I've been playing?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I have been in honor of Legend of Zelda, right? It's the anniversary on Sunday, which, by the way, like, round of applause to Legend of Zelda for turning 35. Thank you, Nintendo, for saying nothing about it on that day. But sure, look, that's fine. Also, for those
they have something planned later.
Yeah, that's the other thing. For all of you that are really upset that, like, Skyward Sword is all we're going to get for Legend of Zelda's anniversary, Nintendo's going to use it over the entire year. All right, simmer down. They're managing their PR and communication beats.
How many Mario things did we get last year?
Yeah,
I don't think we'll necessarily get that many Zelda things, but we'll get more than one.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of things, and really, I don't think they have finished that. Like, the Mario thing is done until March 31st. Marty, I send to you.
I'm going to say this: Nintendo of America did not say anything about the 35th anniversary of Zelda, because it's not until August 22nd, 1987.
Nice.
So it's 35 on August 22nd. Okay. Give it some time, right? Like, that's probably what they were thinking, is it's not February. That's when it came out in Japan. All right. So just give it a little bit of time, and trust me, Wind Waker's coming out later on this year. It's happening.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that one. So, so I have been playing Link's Awakening in my honor of it because I realized that I had not finished that game. So,
Justin, come on, man.
I know. Here's what I've discovered. I play 70% of games and I don't finish them. So
Me
I'm really trying to conservatively make an effort to finish the next 30%. I have like 2 dungeons left or 2 instruments left to collect. So I feel like I'm going to really push through. That's my goal for the next like week, is to finish that game, and then I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, so you're almost to the point where I stopped playing as well, because I got fed up with one of the dungeons. I have beat this game in the past, so I have finished it. I just didn't never finished this version either.
Yeah. I just finished the Face Shrine dungeon. Shire. Yeah. So I'm getting there for sure. But yeah, you know what? Again, here's the thing: as I play it, I'm like, this is such a gorgeous game.
Absolutely.
Such a gorgeous game, and so much fun. And it just reminds me of how much I love it. When I play it, it reminds me of how much I love A Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, and also how much I would love to see a brand new, what do they call this one? 2D isometric Zelda. That's what I would love to see. And not that you're like, no, Justin, you either get this or Breath of the Wild 2. I would just love to see another one like that, and in that art style too. Absolutely adore it. So that's what I'm playing. One other game I'm playing, Knockout City, was revealed in the Nintendo Direct last week, and Knockout City had a beta via Steam this last weekend. So I jumped in for the beta, and this game is kind of cool and is actually like really, really fun. And it has now gone from a yellow on my list to a green on my list. And here's the other part. Kudos to Sony, because they showed this game off in their State of Play today, and they did a much better job explaining what this game was. And that's the trailer we should have seen in Nintendo Direct, because they did. This is that dodgeball game. Man, it reminds me of Splatoon meets a little bit of Fortnite-ish, a little bit ish. With what's that other game? I always keep forgetting it. That stupid bubblegum game. Ninjala. It's got aspects of that, but not bad aspects. I think this is going to be a great party game. I'm going to be interested about the pricing model. But I enjoyed Knockout City. It didn't turn out well when I captured it. It is available on our YouTube channel, but that's because I think I was pushing my laptop to do way too many things it shouldn't have been doing. But Knockout City, keep your eyes on it. I think it's going to be really, really good. I enjoyed a lot of it.
I still want a game with the pixelated princess from the Nintendo trailer. I don't care about the game itself. I just want that character in it.
Yeah,
I liked her.
That whole interview section has absolutely nothing to do with the game in any capacity.
I know. I realize that. But but I liked her.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, those are the games I have been playing. Jesse, what have you been playing?
Okay, I have a few weird games here. So released today, and I didn't even know it was coming. I saw it on the release PR. A game called Castle Kong, and you'll never guess what the inspiration is to it. And it's literally set up just like the original Donkey Kong. So they say it's 22 levels with 4 stages total, and it will get to a kill screen. They didn't say what the kill screen was, only that it has one. And there's online leaderboards, and I did about a 20-minute recording of it earlier today. I think I got just shy of 20,000 points, and I got to like 630th place or something like that.
Wow.
With a top score was 1.1 million. So yeah, I'm a bit a ways from that. I was able to get to stage 1 of level 2. And so that's not yet on YouTube, but it will be this weekend or early next week. Pokemon GO, as I've been talking about for like the last 2 months, had their Kanto Tour event on the 20th. It was a 12-hour event from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. that basically had all the Kanto Pokemon available in one way or another, and I had to choose between a red ticket or a green ticket, and there was certain Pokemon would only spawn as a result of incense if I had a certain color ticket, and then for the other side to get it count towards his collection, I had to trade. So there was 10 sets of collections in the setup that we had to do. Try to remember what they were. There was 6 by incense, 6 by trade, a total of 50 based on like the hourly rotation of the spawns. Then they had 8 by special research rewards. They had 8 by raids, and then if you're doing the math, you were missing 72 Pokemon. So the other 72 are all of the evolutions of all the previous Pokemon. So if you did all 10 collections, you got all 150 Pokemon accounted for, not including Mew. And I was able to do that. I finished it at 6:30. So I played 9.5 hours of almost nonstop Pokemon Go.
Wow.
And I did about 5 hours of live streaming. So it's broken up into 3 parts. So those are on the channel. And then the 2 breaks I took were about 2 hours each, where I went out to driving to do things, at Pokestops that I can't do at the house, and things like that. And then that triggered finishing all those missions, triggered another set of missions reward will be a shiny Mew. And like one of those steps are you have to catch 30 Pokemon of every type, and that will take a while.
Wow. Yikes.
Yeah, so that was fun. I had a lot of people in the chat. I had my friend codes up on the screen, so they were sending me friend invites. And then I'm like, oh, there's a Mewtwo in my area. Who's around? Who wants an invite? And then people say, I'm here. So I invited them, and we were able to do raids just between myself and the chat, and that was fun. And
that's awesome.
If there was more than 3 gyms in my radius, I probably would do that more often. Just live stream Pokemon. But it's not really viable to try to do that as a scheduled event. Ibisol asks, aren't some geo-locked? In normal cases, yes. They, like Kangaskhan, Mime, and Farfetch'd are normally not available in North America. And Taurus is the North American regional variant. But during that day, everything was available. So people were able to get all 150 Pokemon that day. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I don't remember where I was when we talked about it last week. I 100%ed Bowser's Fury, then started 3D World for the monthly Mayhem. I got to I think the final world. Just starting that final world where the credits will roll the first time when I beat Bowser, which then unlocks the special worlds. So I still have a ways to go, but I put that on the back burner because of my final game, Persona 5 Strikers, that I was able to buy last week 4 days early, and Dads After Dark kind of said, ooh, that's kind of a shady thing. But, considering I was originally going to wait to buy it just in case we got a code, but then you get a soundtrack if you buy the package. It costs $10 more.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, sold. I'm about that. So for $10 more, you get $15 worth of DLC plus the soundtrack bonus pack, which I did a video on. So that's on the YouTube, and then you got 4-day early access. So on Saturday or Sunday, I forget which day it was, I recorded a Let's Play of the first 2 hours of the game, and that went up on YouTube on Tuesday, so that's available to watch. After I posted that, I went back and watched my Let's Play of the demo from last year, which covers almost the entire 2 hours. It basically, in the 2 hours, you left the first dungeon, and then you had some story in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
The demo stops as soon as you go through the portal. So it was about an hour and a half of the 2 hours. And I swear, I made the same comments and made the same jokes in both videos.
That sounds about right. Nice.
Yep. Okay, so I am I just finished the first jail. So instead of palaces from the original Persona 5, there are jails in this one. I just finished the first jail, so I'm like 8 hours in. You know, my son's on the last jail, and he has a friend who's already beaten the game. So that's the game that my focus is on.
There were people who had already gotten the platinum on PS5 before, and PS4
Wow.
before it came out
Yeah. And
for
those
most people to play.
And yes, this is a sequel to the Persona 5, and if you've played the original game, it helps. But I think they do enough exposition where they need to explain certain things you would have already known. You don't really have to have played it, but again, it still helps. So if you're on the fence because I've never played the original, I'd say give this one a try. I would say try the demo, but there isn't a demo in North America. But make a Japanese account, then try the demo. And the gameplay is more, again, it's not as Musou like Hyrule Warriors is. It's kind of in the middle ground. It's more like a Kingdom Hearts, and again, normally not a gameplay style I like, and because of that, at one point I had to turn it down to easy from normal, and I'm just gonna keep it at easy throughout the rest of the game. I don't care. I just want to see where this goes with the story. I'm not really there for the challenge.
Are the same voice actors from Persona 5?
From what I can tell, yes. I don't think there was any voice alikes. I think these are all the same cast.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I've been playing Super Mario 3D World, and as I was...
Episode says, spoilers, I want to be surprised about jails. Okay, you got spoiled for the first 45 minutes into the game. That's when you find out about jails.
There you go. I finished Bowser's Fury 100%. All the cat shines, everything, and unlocked the changes that come along with that.
I was going to say, did you relaunch the game?
Pretty cool.
Yes.
Cool. I enjoyed that. Mario 3D World, I'm still chugging on Mario 3D World. I haven't been playing it as much as I want to, but that's because Fortnite. I'm very, very close to level 100. I play until my XP booster runs out every day, and then I quit.
That sounds reasonable.
So I've got like 7 levels left. So I think 7 or 8. And then picked up Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection today. I've already talked about that. The Animal Crossing update for the Mario gear is out, by the way. And if you download that and sign in, you get the Mario Piranha Plant and Blocks wallpaper for your house, which is really cool. It's one of the ones that moves in the background. And so I can't wait for all of that content. And the other thing is I've been playing the original Legend of Zelda. I started this in honor of the 35th anniversary on Sunday and got a considerable way through. I finished through Dungeon 5 of 9. And so I just decided, hey, I want to finish this. I want to beat it. And so I'm working
I was more helping Marty than I was trying. When you asked me for the help, I'm like, I have no idea where you are in this game. Actually. When you were playing Link's Awakening,
I am playing through it with the hand-drawn guide for the Legend of Zelda. Which is that still free at this time?
I think it was only free for the day because that day was the 35th anniversary day.
If you have not seen this, there's a guy who did a Zelda hand-drawn game guide. And I love it because it doesn't give away every little step you have to make. It reads almost like a story. And he's actually got 3 of these out right now. There's one for Contra, there's one for Ninja Gaiden, and there's one for The Legend of Zelda. And you can get this, the digital version of them, for $1.
Yeah. It's a name your price, but it's got to be $1.
Yeah,
and for that one day, it was set to 0.
Gumroad.com/hand-drawn game guides, and huge shout out to him. This is such a labor of love, but I love it's so. The art is so cool, and the map in the front where he's got the entire Hyrule map drawn out and hand numbered where everything is. Super helpful. And I love here that it says one of these is coming very soon for Metroid. And I will
That's
probably
awesome.
play through the NES Metroid once that comes out because I love his style, like I said, of not giving everything away. Like, it's not hand holdy. It's like, hey, you should probably go over here. And it's almost reads like a story in some places. And it even has the original story of the Legend of Zelda redrawn and kind of expanded on in the beginning. It's just super cool. 64-page guide, guided journey through Hyrule tied together with an original narrative take, fully drawn world map in all 9 dungeons, art for every character, enemy, boss, and item, loaded with tips and secrets. So yeah, super cool. Go support hand drawn game guides. Again, that's gumroad.com, hand drawn game guides. And that is what I've been playing, guys. So
Nice.
it's time to turn on the community spotlight.
Do it.
I need
So
to
we
put a
got-
link to that guide in the chats.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. Question that comes to us from Discord from Docad87. This is a fun one. He says, I wanted to know your views on buying the same game multiple times over different systems, which probably all of us have done at some point.
I don't know what
Do
you're
you
talking
think
about.
it's wrong that Nintendo does not offer an upgrade option like what they did on the Wii U with Zelda Wind Waker and Mario 3D World out on the Switch? Why are we buying these games again? Surely Nintendo is laughing at us for doing this and preying on the nostalgia we have. What are your views?
Well, my first thought is this isn't exactly the same comparison. The Wii U upgrade system was for virtual console games for NES, SNES, and N64 games that were previously on the Wii Virtual Console. So there, you were literally buying the same ROM again, no changes. That was nice of them to say, hey, if you bought Mario 3 on the Wii, pay $1 and you can get the Wii U version. But all these other remasters, remakes, that's not just the same ROM dumped again. That's actual work put into it, and is $60 worth of effort? I don't know, but I don't think it's reasonable for them to just have a like $20 or $30 upgrade cost.
Let me throw something out there, Jesse, before we break away from you. I think this is especially an interesting question because as we are recording this today, Sony just had their newest State of Play presentation, which at the end they announced an upgrade to Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PS5. If you own the PS4 version, you will be able to port your saves over and download the game or get a graphical upgraded version of the game on your PS5, including brand new DLC featuring Yuffie for free.
Yeah, well, I think the Yuffie DLC is
So-
also for PS4, not necessarily PS5 only. And
Oh, really? Okay.
and the PS4 to PS5 upgrade thing, that's like across the board.
Some
So-
games are doing it and some games aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Sony's doing it for free. I know some publishers are saying, yeah, $10 for this upgrade.
Right.
And so
I just think it's interesting that
But-
Nintendo says we'll give you Skyward Sword in HD. It's $60, and Sony says we're going to give you basically a bunch of people's Game of the Year last year upgraded to our new system for free.
Right. And then he also mentioned, unless you have the game on PS4 but bought the digital only PS5, then you got to buy it again because the disc is the key. And if you can't put the disc in, then you can't play it.
So that if you bought a digital version on PS4, you will not be able to do this.
No. If you have the digital versions, will migrate over fine. It's if you have the digital PS5 only that has no disc,
Oh,
then you can't. There's no disc
yeah.
to. there's no disk drive to put in.
That's
because they actually made a little line saying if you have a PS4 disc and the PS5 digital version, then you can't migrate it. But yeah,
I love that during this entire discussion between me and you, Justin has simply leaned back, put his hands behind his head, and taken off his glasses, and has what I could only describe to you audio-only listeners as a smirk on his face. And so let's open the door, unleash business Justin. Here he comes.
I don't have a huge issue with it. And here's the challenge. I am also the guy who's bought like Super Mario 2 on every single console that I absolutely possibly could.
Yep.
Would I like for Nintendo to say like they did in the Wii U, like, sure, look, you pay an extra $1 and you get the version that goes over. We all would love that, right? However, that's not the reality of it. And the reality of why they don't do that is because these games are new to somebody, right? And yes, I get that you already own them somewhere else, but you're also the one making the decision to pay for it. If you don't agree with that practice, don't buy them again. It's just that simple. If you have an issue with it, should Nintendo do this? Yeah, it'd be great. Do they? No. Why? Simple. Money, right? They know they can make money and people will do it again. So we also have this like fear that we're going to lose our things, right? We're going to lose our 3DS and that has all of our games on it. So we'll buy it somewhere else, right? Like we'll buy more content. That's the digital consumption of it. So I don't really have an issue with it. This is the same conversation of like people like, oh, I can't believe Skyward Sword is 10 years old and they're charging $60. That's horrendous. Time, effort, and work had to be done to put into it. It's not a simple like drag and drop of a file onto a disk and you're done, right? Work has to be done. And by the way, it's new to somebody. Just because you played it or didn't like it back 10 years ago doesn't matter. And Nintendo knows the value of their IPs. They're not going to change it. They're not going to alter that. So if you don't like the price of it, don't buy it. That's it. Simple.
Yeah. Another comparison, my understanding of the way that the PlayStation works, migrating a PS4 game with upgrading it to PS5 of visual effects, is it's still basically the same executable with a new texture pack and new effects that it can access. The equivalent to this we've seen with Nintendo is 3D All-Stars. It's running the N64 ROMs with additional textures patched in and additional, things like that. Where Skyward Sword, that's not just texture replacement. That's, full
that's work.
Models redone, whole new executables being built.
They had to do a whole mapping of the controls. That's not as simple as like a just drag and drop file. Like again, anytime any content there is more effort. There's resources, there's time, there's people's salaries, benefits. There's like that all has to be paid for.
And that's something I realized when I was trying to play Galaxy on the Switch is it works on the Wii because there's only one analog stick. So you have no second stick for camera controls, which is what I'm trying to do, and it doesn't do what I want it to do because that's not what it was meant for. And we're going to have the same problem with Skyward Sword. People are going to want that right stick to be camera controls, but no, that's your sword.
Yeah. Also, just judging by the language that Dodcade87 used, I would say that they believe it's wrong that Nintendo doesn't offer an upgrade option. I mean, is it wrong? It's business. It's their decision, right? I'd love for them to do it. They don't. They did it once. Didn't work out for us. If it was just a
texture pack, then sure, $60 definitely would be too much. But
it's not.
This is more than just that.
Yeah,
it's almost rebuilding the game from scratch. And I'm sure they already shared code, but minimally.
I love the other question is like, is Nintendo laughing at us and playing on our nostalgia? Yes. to both questions.
I just wonder if there's like some board somewhere that they have a running total of how many systems can we sell this game on.
Yeah,
and they just look at it and it's like the laughing Leonardo DiCaprio gif, where he's drinking the wine.
I'm gonna remind everyone here. This, right?
Yep.
This.
Game
This
and
is
Watch for those who aren't
This
watching
is
the
Nintendo
video.
fans in the most quintessential simplistic way, right? You literally sold me a game that is over 35 years old on a piece $50 on a piece of plastic that is barely bigger than a credit card, and we all lost our freaking mind. Why? Because nostalgia. Because if there's any organization or company, especially in the video game space, that has the tightest grip on nostalgia, it is Nintendo, and they know how to play that card so well.
And they know how to play the collector's card in me.
Yeah.
Because I bought one and it's unopened on my shelf up here that you can't see, along with the pin set 1 that I haven't opened, and pin set 2 will be joining it next week.
Pin
Unopened.
set 2's on its way to me right now.
There you go, Ebicel. It's 9:47.
Well, he's saying that it doesn't have an alarm, because the original Game & Watch actually had an alarm feature that would chime. Then this one does not have an alarm.
Now it's 9:48. If there is some way to keep that on display all the time,
Yeah,
and
I
I know
think
you
there
have
is,
to
but you have to have it plugged in at all times.
I'm looking at my setup here, and there's no
I'm sure someone has a 3D printed stand for it.
I'm sure there is, but
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
It's out there. We've seen pictures in our Discord. Let's move on to the next question here. These are from Patreon. Simon Hawkins asked us this. I've recently got into roguelite games, having played Hades, Dead Cells, and Slay the Spire. I'm really getting into Nowhere Prophet. Do you have a favorite game in this genre or game that you could recommend I try next? Thanks for a great show. Have a good one. Gentlemen, I'll take it from here.
Before you do, I will throw out a game, even though I normally don't like roguelikes, but if you're okay with card games that are roguelikes, Dicey Dungeon, I don't know, a lot of people on the Discord liked it and played it to 100%.
Yes.
I only got about 30% through it.
Yeah.
But I still had fun with it.
Can I give you my 3? Neon Abyss, Foregone, Scourgebringer. Scourgebringer, one I always say wrong every time. Those would be my 3 roguelikes. And you've got a roguelike you're playing right now, do you not, Mr. Marty Estes, sent to us by the fantastic folks over Team 17?
I do. It is called Rogue Legends. And it is fantastic. It is basically Link to the Past roguelike. You do not need to miss this game. But if I have to recommend one roguelike game, one that stands far head and shoulders above the rest,
you're going to say Into the Gungeon, aren't you?
You need to play Enter the Gungeon. It came out the first year the Switch was out, and I still play it at least 3 or 4 times a month. Just throwing it out there. It's the best. It really, it is. I mean, there's not, but if you want a different take on roguelikes, let me give you another one too. Okay. And that is Bad North, which is a roguelike tactical game, which puts you on an island in the middle of the ocean
even worse.
with some Vikings that do different things that you can change to do different things. And you have to survive through a journey, through all these islands. And you get different people and different things and commanders and different kinds of special gear that do different things. And you're trying to survive all the way to the final island. And then one other, and then I'm done. And that is Flint Hook, which came out back in 2017, which is a great mix of Metroidvania, roguelike, and Mega Man.
Yeah.
I've
actually got 2 others to put on your radar. West of Dead. That came out in August. That's a really great game. Great voice acting from Ron Perlman. But the nice twist about it is it's basically a 3D roguelike. which is really, really cool. And there's another one that actually just came out this week, and on Antonio Contrario is actually going to be doing the coverage for us, and that is Curse of the Dead Gods. That just came out this week, and so we're going to have more coverage on that as well. So the Switch is not short on some roguelikes, but there are a ton in there. Marty has, as much as I bash on Marty for his roguelike, he has absolute love for Enter the Gungeon, and if there is somebody who knows their roguelites, I would trust Marty.
I do want to back up here and say this. I called a game earlier that we talked about that I'm playing right now from Team 17, Rogue Legends. That is not true. It had a brain fart. It's Rogue Heroes, Ruins of Tassos. And I would definitely recommend this one. If you're a fan of the old school SNES game ActRaiser, where you did some levels, but then you got to come back and got to build your town or help the area, it definitely invoked that for me. And if you're into that and Link to the Past, you should check it out.
Tim's trying to cause problems in chat. He says, take the roguelites, throw them in a dumpster, and light them on fire.
Can we, what happened? Can you ban someone in YouTube, or what do you do? Do you put them in timeout or something? Do you mute them? Like, how does that work? Can we do that to him?
I might be able to.
Can we put him in like a 5-minute timeout?
Can we put him in a jail?
Yeah, let's do that.
Can we put him in a Persona 5 jail that's his mind?
Yeah, I don't know YouTube moderation like I do Twitch. I can add him as a moderator. But
all right,
I don't know.
well, don't do that.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, you.
Here we go. From Jesus Amada asks us, gentlemen and Jason, I, for one, am surprised that Nintendo has brought back Nintendo Directs. I did enjoy everything, but I'm pleasantly surprised with the way they approached the Zelda thing. Will Nintendo ever care for their IPs and give us great things for their anniversaries, or are remakes / remasters the only thing that they can do to celebrate anniversaries? At least we got 12 more days till we get Apex on the Switch.
Yeah, yes, we do.
And we got a bunch of other great games coming to the Switch. So I think the question he's asking is, will Nintendo ever get anniversaries right?
Well, again, we said this earlier. I don't think, Skyward Sword won't be the only Zelda thing. There'll be something new. It may not be the big new game we want. It might be like Mario 35, something on a small scale. But I think there'll be something new that we don't know, that we won't see coming.
Yeah. Jesse, take a look at the chat. Looks like you actually removed Tim's moderation ability, which is funny. He's losing
I thought
it.
I added it.
It's okay. I think Nintendo will probably just rebox, re-anniversarize, and sell. Right, that's probably what they're gonna do. I'd love for them to say, like, here's a some kind of like, hey, here's a Zelda game you never saw, and it's celebrating 35 years, and it's somehow like it's Zelda traveling through the different versions of Zelda in the timeline and experiencing very different things. I would love that, but knowing Nintendo and knowing. So it's the idea of like least amount of effort to make the most amount of money. Like, I mean, I know that sounds absolutely horrible, but that's probably what they're going to do is we're going to see rebundles of, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and all those things. And they're going to sell really, really well. And they're going to be limited time sales, by the way, for, they'll only be available till March 31st of 2022. And everyone's going to buy a crud amount of them. I would love, they'll do a Nintendo Switch design, like a SKU to celebrate something, just like they did for Mario. But like, I don't think they're gonna, I don't know. Set your expectations low. Set your expectations to you're going to a birthday party, and there's ice cream cake, but you also realize that the ice cream cake was probably left outside in the sun. It's still ice cream cake, but it's melted and doesn't taste as good, and you're disappointed, but you'll still eat it.
That's kind of scrape it off the tablecloth.
Yeah, but you'll still eat it because it's ice cream cake. So I think that's a good equivalent of how Nintendo celebrates their own anniversaries.
Let me just say this: picture this with me, gentlemen. Zelda 35. 35 links roaming around the map, killing enemies, sending them to other people.
Nice.
I'd be
you have to get to the dungeon, get the Triforce. And then all of a sudden you're in the first dungeon and you go into the next room, and instead of being full of skeletons and bats, Ganon's there.
Yep.
And you've got to figure out how to beat him and move on.
I love that.
It's coming. I believe it.
Yep.
But here's the thing. I will say this about the anniversary thing. I think Nintendo does a fairly okay job with celebrating anniversaries. I mean, get it out of your mind this year that we're getting a Pokemon, Metroid, Zelda, and everything anniversary all at the same time. It's not going to happen. But the other thing is this, is name me another company that does anniversaries well. I can't think of any.
Disney?
Not a video game company.
Well, nobody has the same amount of lore or IPs. I mean,
Okay.
maybe, well, yeah, nobody does it the same
Let
way.
me say this. The closest thing I have experienced to what I think people want Nintendo to do, as far as celebrating their IP and celebrating everything, is what Sony did with Astro's Playroom on the PS5.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because Astro's Playroom it's meant to show off all the capabilities. Like, it's a tech demo, 3D platformer that actually ends up being pretty dang fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's
once you collect
Sony
all the collectibles in the game, you
everywhere.
build an in-game museum.
Yeah, and it's like you can go and like push buttons on the big PS1. You can jump up and down on top of it, make the door open, and do all this stuff. It makes you want to come back and do that. Nintendo has the ability to do this, but
They do it in really like small, subtle ways. So in my office right here in front of me is the NES Lego set, right? That we all got in August and spent, like a day building. But do you remember when you built level 1, 2 on the side of it?
mm-hmm.
Right? You're like, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like they have these things that will provide you these nostalgia moments of like, oh yeah. And Mario 3D World has a lot of those as well. But they are a company that understands the subtlety sometimes. They're not as kind of over the hammer, or across the head on your hammer on it as some other companies are. But I think you're right. Like they could do something like that, and man, we'd all eat it up, right?
Like I've said multiple times on the show, or we've said that like an RPG or a Skylanders-esque game featuring Amiibo, where it's like the whole world of the whole everything of Nintendo, wherever like there's a nexus and it connects from Mushroom Kingdom to Hyrule to Metroid, to Zebus or wherever, like it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But again, why does Nintendo do what they do? Justin, you said it earlier. Do they like money? Money.
You know the one game I was thinking of that might have actually been the closest reference point to that like PlayStation game you're referencing?
Say it, because I know what you're about to say.
Say it together. 3, 2, 1. Nintendo Land. Yep. Wii U's Nintendo Land was the closest thing I think they had to that.
And what's funny about Nintendo Land is I seem to remember that it didn't exactly set the world on fire when it came out, but now everybody's like, man, I love Nintendo Land. I sure wish Nintendo Land would come back. That's why Nintendo doesn't do these things, because they do it and everybody goes, eh. But then when they don't do anything, it's like, man, what the crap? They didn't even mention Zelda on its birthday. And that's why they do it.
Yeah. Because
they get the mediocre reaction other times and they think, well, it's not worth it.
Yeah. They're darned if you do, they're darned if you don't.
Exactly.
I am excited, though, to think that maybe this year for Zelda, we'll have like a Lego collaboration.
Oh, it could happen. Here's the thing. The newest Direct is the best example I can think of in recent history of Nintendo's darned if you do, darned if you don't. It's like, we want a Direct, but we don't want that Direct.
Yeah. That's a super tough one. I recently, I actually found out today, it's actually called like the Garnet hype cycle. And it actually basically talks about that idea of like, there's nothing super hyped. What happens after a disappointment, and then this like realization leveling out of
Sounds
essentially
like the Sonic the Hedgehog cycle.
of like, oh, okay, it's not as bad as it appears to be. I don't know. Yeah, I was listening to some of the stuff off of Kind of Funny this week, and like they were still kind of bagging on it too. And I'm like, I don't know. They were going to lose any way they cut it. Any way they cut it, they were going to lose.
Absolutely. One last question here from our good friend Bruce Patterson.
Bruce Patterson in the Great White North.
He commented on our post, and he said this: I have a question. Do you think this year that MLB The Show will show up in the Switch at all with crossplay?
Wasn't there a rumor about this for a while?
There's been a hint. Right? Even Nintendo kind of retweeted one of MLB The Show's tweets on, the actual Twitter account.
Yeah, and I would say this. I would say a social media manager, especially for a company as big as Nintendo, they don't just do things for giggles. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's cool, I'll just hit retweet. Like, there's usually, I'm not gonna say like there's always something behind it, but there is some. I don't like. I think that could happen. I think it could happen.
I would have thought we would have heard about it by now, since the release is April 20.
I think it's going to be like Tony Hawk. I think you're gonna
beforehand.
get the others, and then it's going to come out Switch later.
Actual season starts.
And will it have crossplay? I think it's funny, Bruce. Like so much of those conversations now, like crossplay. Remember how when crossplay used to be like, did you guys know this game had crossplay? And you're like, what? Right? I love the fact that the industry is in general is getting to a point now where cross-play is not a exception, but rather a expectation for a lot of these multi-platform games. And my hope is that indeed that will be the case for MLB The Show. That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't like baseball. I don't care. So I hope you get it. That's all I can say.
I'm trying to see when the season starts, and I didn't realize spring training was so long. It's almost 2 months. It was over 2 months.
Yeah.
Still waiting for NHL 94 Retro Rewind or whatever that is, right?
Well, maybe it's one of those EA games that's coming this year.
EA has all of a sudden really shown up with the love in the last couple months, right?
Well, they, like Nintendo, love money.
Yeah, well, that's not a shocker.
Looks like it's April 1st.
But think about this from EA's perspective. Just coming up here in May, right? Or sorry, in March. Apex, Sea of Solitude. That's an EA original.
Plants vs. Zombies.
Plants vs. Zombie is the EA, and then Knockout City in June is an EA original as well. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah. So. First Frostbite engine game, Garden Warfare, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right on that, Abyssal. That the Plants vs. Zombie will be the first Frostbite engine. Awesome. Be interesting to see how that goes.
Well, guys, that is episode 316 of Nintendo Dads. We thank you for hanging out with us, either on the YouTubes and Twitches or on the audio version of the podcast as well. And as we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers. That's Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contronio, and Christopher Waring. You guys are awesome, as well as each and every one of you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where you can join up and be a part of this awesome community that we are growing
Justin
here.
wants to say something.
Yeah. Hey, sorry. Quick reminder. I'm sorry. Can we do a quick cut here for 1 second? Turn the music down. I totally forgot to announce, ladies and gentlemen, next week on the show, make sure you tune in. We have a Pokemon Direct this week. We have a Pokemon event. Who should be on the show next week to talk Pokemon? Rogers Base is coming back next week, March 4th, talking some Pokemon with us. We love Roger.
Ready for a 3-hour show.
Yeah, we love Roger. We love Pokemon. If you've got Pokemon questions and comments, and we're going to love to hear your interactions next week, live, Twitch, YouTube, Rogers Base, the Nintendo Dads, we're back at it again. And we're super excited about that.
Awesome.
You may continue now. I apologize.
Let's go. Head on over to nintendodads.org, where you can check out all of our YouTube videos, tweets, podcast episodes, links to all of our social media, and our Patreon page. as well as the newly started Extra Life 2021 team. We're already talking about it. We're already planning. You can also go to the Nintendo Dads shop and buy a lot of Nintendo Dads merch, which helps us out and helps you look stylish and cool as you go out on the town. Also, you can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. We'll play it right here on the show. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. A reminder, sharing is caring. Tell people about the show, send them a link, invite them to listen to a podcast, and be sure to leave a 5-star review and some words. And let people know how awesome the show is, how much you enjoy it. It helps people find us. Guys, this has been episode 316 for me, for Justin, for Jesse, and for Tim, who's somewhere out there in the ether, probably just in the YouTube chat. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
Wobble Puffet, Wobble Buffet.